Hi, my name is Holly and I'm an artist. Usually I use mostly Daniel Smith watercolors, but all my watercolors are mixed into these little haphazard travel tins that I made on my own. I always wanted like a bigger tin that just had everything that I needed in it so I would be able to take it out and about if I wanted to. For Christmas, my family got me the Schmincke professional watercolor set with 24 different colors in it. The colors were so bright and vibrant and just beautiful in the pans, but I needed to try them out. As most watercolor sets, it came with like a little swatch sheet, but the paper usually isn't very good for the swatch sheets, and it's not the type of paper that I would use when making a final painting anyway. So I got an Arches cold press scrap of paper and I made another color sheet, and it was kind of nice because then I could compare how the colors look on a good sheet of paper and not as good sheet of paper, and I like seeing the difference. When doing swatches of paint, I'll usually go back after the first layer is dry and do another uh, second or third layer just to see what the more saturated hue is going to look like. After that, I go on and I want to play with the colors and see how they mix together. So I'll usually go through and do a bunch of triads in my sketchbook. Here I started with some non-traditional colors, secondary orange, purple, and green, just to see what the mixes would turn into. I was happy with the way the triad page turned out. I got a lot of nice colors from the mixes. And then I also tried mixing some of my standard colors that I use for neutrals. And the whole thing turned out like a good reference page that I'll be using. The next step I do when I'm trying out a new paint or color palette is to make an actual finished painting with the new paints. Unfortunately, my art room was very messy at this time, so I had to completely clean off my art area so I could have a space to put my still life. I don't do still lives very often, but I had these children's toys that I really wanted to draw and paint, so I figured it would look really good with the bright schminky colors that I just got for Christmas. For the drawing, I used my Noodler's brown number 41 ink and my dip pen. The ink is waterproof. Unfortunately, when I was doing the erasing of the pencil lines underneath, I did have some smudging of the ink, but it didn't really bother me because this is just my sketchbook and it's practice. I had a plan to make the surface that the toys were sitting on the wood of my art desk. I wanted to make it a lot darker than the toys sitting on it. So I started with an actual lighter color, and I wanted to keep building up the layers just to see how that went, to see if there's blooms where the paint was getting moved around, just really testing out what the colors are going to do as they dry and how they look when they layer, if they lift, or all the properties that I can figure out with the paint. A lot of the colors for this piece are primaries and secondaries. They're pretty saturated, but there is many pastels in here also. I picked the children's toys specifically because I did want to try out these colors in their pure form straight out of the pan. So I was able to do that a lot with these. And for the pastels, I just had to really, really water down the color so the white of the page would be the white that would be in the pastel. For the shadow area, I use my own mixture of the cadmium red and the helio cerulean blue, leaning a little bit more towards the blue than the red. And one of the bonuses of doing a still life is the ability to study how shadows fall on forms. I noticed that these paints dried quite a bit lighter than their wet form, which is kind of standard with watercolor, but these ones maybe a little bit more so than I'm used to with the Daniel Smith. It's okay, it just meant that I was able to do more layers on there and get a little bit more interest with the textures of the paint when they dried layer upon layer. I think overall I had very high expectations for this paint set because I did watch reviews, and it is a professional watercolor set, and it came through. All my expectations were met. I really enjoyed painting with these colors, and I will definitely be using them for the illustrations that I'm currently working on. So the big question for me was, am I going to like these Schmincke watercolors better than my Daniel Smith watercolors? And the answer is no, I don't like them better, but I do really like them. I don't like my Daniel Smith colors better than these either. They're both very quality watercolors, and everything that I would want in a watercolor I found in these and my other professional sets, or other professional tubes that I own. But I really did like this set, and if you get one, you won't be disappointed.